My name's Paul Hopkins. Earlier this year I was interim head of IT at the University for the Creative Arts. The University for the Creative Arts is a very, very small institution with approximately 7,000 students spread across 5 campuses from West Surrey to East Kent. A total of about 130 miles from one campus to another, and their issue was that their business sold the campus, which happened to be right in the centre of the 5, which held the data centre and also the disaster recovery. The business issue was then, what should they do as they vacate the site? Should they build a new data centre at another site, convert what they had, or should they go out and get their data centre and disaster recovery hosted? Should they go virtual? And that's the business issue that we had to solve, and we had to solve it rapidly. Whenever you try to run a complex project, the very first thing that you have to do is to get the business to answer 2 questions. The first question is, what do you want? People will tell you what they don't want, but they're very reluctant to actually specify, this is what we want. The second question, having got that, is how will you know when you've got it? Because that goes much further. It actually requires you to visualize and say, it's going to be wow, it's going to be very flexible, it's going to allow us to do this, this, this and this, and it is going to cost approximately this much. It may be more than you paid in the past, it may be less. But when you visualize what it is you're going to do, then you can start looking at both cost and price and value. This is what we had to do with the University for the Creative Arts. We looked at all possibilities of, do we need it at all? Do we have to provide it? Could somebody else provide it? Or what were the other alternatives? Within that, what was our role? What did we want for ourselves and for our staff? And when you start doing that, you have to then explore all of the options about talking to finding third parties, trying to get an idea of costs, looking to see whether you could do something inside the sector, looking to see whether there were other universities that might want to cooperate with you, and all of those other possibilities. There are many, many routes that you can take, but it really requires communication within the sector, using things like the USISA director's email list, or going out and talking to vendors. You also have all the frameworks, the Government G Cloud, the Janet framework. There are many, many routes. The problem is when you think that there is only one way forward. That's when your thinking can be constrained. The major problems that we encountered when you look at different routes for moving forward with data centres are these. When you go out to an external company, a hosted company, they tend to work across all sectors. The problem you have then is talking to them, and that we use the same words to mean different things, different words to mean the same thing. They don't understand our business, they don't understand the sector, they don't understand words like registration, clearing, they don't understand our timetabling, but they are really, really good at running a commodity service because they run it for the banks, the manufacturing, commercial, government. So they are experts in what they do, but they are not experts in what we do as a business. So you have swings and roundabouts. You have to get into vendor management to make sure that the communications work with them. If you start looking at some of the organisations within the sector, and obvious candidates are Janet, ULCC, EduServe, and some of the services that provide, the JISC services that provide hosted facilities, then you have issues that they do understand our language, but they're often at a different scale of operation. And so you get advantages and disadvantages of that. If you go and talk to other universities, next door neighbour universities, they thoroughly understand what we're talking about, and they're used to running services very similar to ours. However, their peaks coincide with our peaks. They can do best endeavours and provide services like that, but they're not used usually to providing a contracted service with all of the warranties and all of the issues that go along with it. So There is no dream silver bullet or solution. What you have to do is decide upon the least worst solution for your particular institution and then make it work. As with everything else, it's all about people, people and people. What's more that can be done within the sector is actually about communication, is looking at alternatives and different ways, trying to learn what worked, what didn't work, what has to be overcome. When you get organisations that think we provide hosted facilities by only bringing in external third parties, that may be a valid solution for certain things. When you find people who think, oh well, we can only do it ourselves, that also restricts the range of possibilities. What we have to do is realise the world is moving very, very fast. New alternatives are coming up all of the time. We have to choose something that is right for our organisation now, and we also have to make sure we don't look too far into the future. When the world is changing as rapidly as it is, we shouldn't really be looking much beyond 2 years ahead, because if we look back 2 years ago, people were not really thinking about the cloud services that exist. It was all about, well, we could do this, we could do that. The world is maturing very quickly and new opportunities are arising. So the real solution is, don't paint yourself into a corner. Keep things flexible, keep them agile, and get your staff and your management to continuously look at all sorts of opportunities, and realise that what's right today is going to be completely wrong tomorrow. And as people say, tomorrow is going to be so different to yesterday, it's going to be unrecognisable. So I think the answer is all about people and agility.